Introducing the Past Present Feature Film Festival, a new showcase celebrating cinematic storytelling across time. From bold proof-of-concept shorts to standout new films lighting up the circuit to overlooked features that deserve another look. Sponsored by the Past Present Feature podcast and Leica Camera, all films screen in Hollywood using Leica's CineWay projector. Submit now at filmfreeway.com/past-present-feature. The past, the present, the future of film, all under one spotlight. Welcome to the Past Present Feature podcast. I Is Another marks Felix Randau's return to the Locarno Film Festival, where the film premieres in competition. Inspired by the true story of Felix Kersten, personal masseur to Heinrich Himmler, we discuss why Randau rejected a conventional hero narrative in favor of a morally ambiguous portrait, exploring the blurred line between truth, history, and the stories we choose to believe. We also discuss antiheroes, historical storytelling, filmmaking in Germany, and the films that shaped Felix's love of cinema, including The African Queen by John Huston. At its core, our conversation is about resisting simple answers, embracing moral complexity, and recognizing that history is often shaped as much by storytelling as it is by fact.
Where are you? Are you in New York or LA or where are you?
I'm in Los Angeles, sunny California, Studio City, Toluca area. Universal Studios is right behind me, right behind this wall.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Yeah, it's could be worse. Could be worse. I was driving to the coffee shop today, and I'm just thinking, after 14 years even, I'm thinking, damn, I'm glad I live here. Glad I live here. It's a lovely day. And then we take it for granted. You really take it for granted when you're living in Los Angeles because you go somewhere else and then you realize, oh shit, this is lovely.
Okay. So you like it in LA? I live in Berlin here right now, and for now about 25 years, and I'm getting more and more bored here.
Okay, okay. Yes, I do love LA. Nothing is perfect. Nowhere is perfect. But I just find myself whenever I leave and come back, it has this magic in the air to me. I think some people that get that, people that do get that will agree. As far as Berlin, I've been there one time, and I was at the film festival with a friend who had a film in there, and I loved it so much, so much. But I have a small sample size, so I don't. And it's also very interesting to visit. Well, there's just simply a difference between visiting a place and living in a place, right?
Of course.
So,
of course.
But 25 years is crazy. Berlin, huh?
Yeah, I studied film here, and then so I have my partner, all my friends here, so you stay here, of course. But I'm getting bored more and more.
Well, okay.
Maybe it's because you're getting older. You're not any more interested in all the party stuff and things like that.
Man. Yeah. In Berlin, the party. Hey, it's 2 a.m. We're going out. What?
Yes.
It's wild.
It's exactly like that.
Yes.
And I'm right in the middle of it here in Kreuzberg, It's really a party area.
What's the area called?
Kreuzberg. It's right in the middle of Berlin.
Kreuzberg. Okay. Yeah, that's where I spent a lot of the time when I was there. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I remember and I've told this story so many times but I'm not tired of it yet. Basically, when I was in Berlin, and we got invited to the Sunday brunch, and it was just, what was the movie that my buddy was an actor in the film, and right before the pandemic, like literally the pandemic, and it was a German director. I bet you'll know the name. One of These Days was the film. Bastian Günther?
Yeah. I know the movie you're talking about. I know.
Okay. It's where it's in Louisiana, and I think, and they have their hands on a hard body, trying to win a car. Yeah. So that was the movie. And so we got invited to this mostly German and adjacent filmmaking brunch in Kreuzberg. Is it Kreuzberg? Is that how I could say it? I could get away with that as an American?
Yeah, it's okay. Kreuzberg, yeah.
So we go to this super cool house. I don't know, not house. Yeah, kind of a house, but it didn't feel like a house or an apartment because they're so massive, right? There. But everybody's just hanging out the windows, smoking cigarettes and drinking lattes and eating soup and so excited about cinema. And like that experience was it was like church, literally church hours, Sunday. They just spoke my language, and that was a big part of like inspiration for this podcast, actually, because I
I
couldn't
see.
really find that back home here. They don't, I'm sure it exists in little pockets, but it was a thing that was so cinema focused that at least in Los Angeles, it's not that easy to find the collective of that.
You
So
told me,
Berlin's got vibes.
but you're a filmmaker too, Christian told me. Is that right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So,
Uh-huh.
but so the podcast is just another small thing.
The podcast is it's like a networking thing. It's really an itch to scratch, It's just like talking to people that I
Okay, I see.
like going back to that Berlin get together, That's what this is to me. Where it's like, oh, I don't have to
Okay.
get on a plane or be somewhere else. I can just do it virtually. And so now I can just have conversations
Yeah,
with
it's a good
filmmakers.
idea. Nice idea, of course.
It's great, but it's a little bit of a burden sometimes, I mean, as anything is, that's worth anything. You got to put the work in. All right,
Yeah.
so director's note: quote unquote, every story has three sides: yours, mine, and the truth.
This quote you just mentioned is from Robert Evans, this producer.
Kid who stays in the picture. Kid stays in the picture. Bob Evans.
Yes,
Love.
it's in the preface, I think, somewhere.
I've read that
I
whole
stole
book.
that line.
I read that
Yeah,
whole book, not just the first chapter.
I read it too. I read it twice, and I
So
watched the movie.
good. By the way, I did give that book to a friend who never read it. So, Michael, I need that book back. All right. So, your film is it's autumn 1952. Journalist Hedda and her husband Winfried ambush Felix Kersten, former massage therapist to Nazi SS leader Heinrich Himmler. Oh, wow. Kersten claims to have helped thousands of concentration camp prisoners to freedom during the Nazi era. But Hedda has doubts, and what started as an interview quickly leads to a psychological cat and mouse game. You're world premiering at Locarno, correct? What a cool festival. So, okay, are you premiering at the giant, was it Plaza Grande? Is that what it's called? Piazza Grande.
Yeah, it's an outdoor venue. About, I don't know, I think 6,000 or 7,000 people can watch your movie there. If you're lucky.
So amazing.
Yeah, it's really
you've been here
huge.
before. You've been here before once, right? You've screened a film here.
Yeah, I've been there before, but then it was raining cats and dogs, so we had to go to another venue. It was really a mess. This time, I hope there will be a stay. I hope.
I was just thinking, like, damn, what happens when it rains? Is this Switzerland? Where is this?
Yeah, it's Switzerland. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay.
The French part of Switzerland.
But so your film, it's a German-Austrian co-production, correct?
Yes.
Is that just with the financing, how the financing fell into place?
Yes, of course. I think financing is always, a tough ride or a briar patch. In this case, it really was. So we had to get some money from Austria too, to get this thing started.
There's a lot of kind of public financing, right, over there versus we kind of have to gather private financing. I'm sure that each one has its own sticking points. But tell me about the difficulties that you have as far as trying to get this, even though it sounds nice, public financing. I'm sure you're one of many filmmakers trying to squeeze in the door and convince the funding.
Sounds nice,
yeah,
but it isn't, because you go to a film fund commission somehow. They all read your script, and in this commission, there are guys from the film fund, of course, and television and producers and, I don't know, directors sometimes, journalists. And they discuss every script. Yeah, and by the end, I think somehow they agree on the lowest common denominator, something like that.
At the end of the day, you got to get selected. You got to convince and pitch.
Yeah, but it was really, it took me, I don't know, 4 years, 4 years ago, Claes Bang said yes to play, to agree to play Felix Kersten. And from then on, it took me 4 years to get this thing financed. And that is really a long time.
Tell me about the origin story of this film. Why this film? Where did it come from? What was the first moment where you're like, I got to make this?
Yeah, the story is like this. I think it was 5 years ago, I got an offer from a French company to shoot a TV series, 4 episodes about Felix Kersten. And I went to Paris and talked to these guys, and they gave me the concept, the Bible, or whatever you may call it. And I read it and I liked it. And then I went back to Berlin and I started my own research, And in this concept, there was one sentence. Okay, I have to say they wanted to tell really a hero story, and in this concept there was one sentence, something like, if Steven Spielberg would have known about Felix Kersten, he would have told his story and not Oskar Schindler's. And that really made me suspicious, because I know, or we all know, Steven Spielberg, he's not a stupid guy, and he struggled for about, I don't know, I think 10 years before he started shooting Oskar Schindler. He was really thinking hard about it. And he has a lot of assistants, so he must have heard about Felix Kersten, I'm pretty sure. So then I started to start my digging, I went into the archives and read a lot of books, and I found out that Felix Kersten wasn't this kind of hero the French guys wanted to make a movie about. He was more like an imposter perhaps, or con man, something that more like, he was more in between. And then I told the French guys, let's do a movie about Felix Kersten, or a TV series, whatever. Felix Kersten was another person than you thought. The French guys said, "Oh no, we're not interested. We want to make a hero story." And so, I was a little bit crestfallen, of course. And back in Berlin again, I thought about it, and I did all this research, all this digging. So I started right from the scratch and wrote a script, a con man script, an imposter script, and that's how it all started.
Nice. Interesting. So just so the audience is clear, a successful and prosperous physical therapist who administered to the Dutch royal family, and he was asked to forsake his adopted home in the Netherlands and become personal physician to Heinrich Himmler, which was basically Hitler's right-hand guy, right? For like layman's, right? Just for context for the audience, so, people that don't know. That's an interesting character to follow. And, I think of an American film that Bryan Singer did. Did you ever see Valkyrie? Did you ever see that?
Of course, yeah. It was shot here in Berlin.
Good movie. Who was this guy? I would just ask you right now, who do you think that was this guy forced to do this? Was he a good guy? Or I think you said you believe he was a con man. What do you think about Felix? Wait, you share the same first name with this guy. It's throwing me off here.
But that's a coincidence. I think this guy, Felix Kersten, he was a narcissist. That's for sure. 20s, I think he was struggling a lot. In the 20s, he wanted to become an actor. He was an actor. He shot one movie here in Berlin, but it's got lost somewhere. And he was struggling with life. And somehow he found out he has one gift, and that is he was really a really brilliant masseur. He really was. He did his job as a masseur, and he became familiar with a lot of Nazis and finally Himmler himself. And he was really able to help Himmler, because Himmler had stomach problems, I don't know, and Felix Kersten could help Himmler really. Because of that, he became high society in those days. He got rich, he became famous, all of that. And I don't think that he really was a Nazi. I think he wasn't into politics or something like that. It was just he was into fame and stuff like that. But then I think at some point there was a turning point in the Second World War, as we all know, and that was here in Europe. We all know that was Stalingrad, and I think that was the turning point when Felix Kersten thought, if we don't do anything right now, I will be dead in about 2 years, like all the other Nazis, and he had to do something. And then I think at that point he started to manipulate Heinrich Himmler and made him really release some guys from the concentration camps. Not thousands of people, but maybe 100, maybe 200. He really did. So he did really good things, but maybe not because he was a good man or something like that. He did it just because he was he wanted to save his soul, his life.
Very selfish man.
Yeah, of course he was selfish, and opportunist, and whatever, And I think after the war, then it wasn't enough for him to be a hero. He wanted to be a superhero. So, he wanted to be chiseled into his tombstone, something like superhero. And then he started to fake a lot of documents, I don't know, letters, all that stuff, to just to give people the impression that he was, the better Oskar Schindler, what he wasn't. a lot of people still believe that he was really something like Oskar Schindler, especially in France. In France, he is really, really popular. In
I
France,
see.
there are comic books, novels, whatever, documentaries, and they all think in France that that Felix Kersten was a kind of hero. He's a kind of star in France. And I think that is because in France there's a biography on Felix Kersten written by France's really famous author, Joseph Cassel is his name. And Joseph Cassel, he was left-wing, he was in the French resistance, stuff like that. But he needed money. There are rumors he needed money. Kersten paid him to write his fake biography, and this biography is really, really famous in France because this author is highly respected in France. So, by the way, there's another project about Felix Kersten. Maybe you have heard about it. It's a French $30 million movie. Woody Harrelson should play Felix Kersten. Yeah, 2 years ago there were a lot of rumors about that movie, but it never happened. I think.
Oh, it never happened. Okay.
No, it never happened.
They never made it. Oh, wow. My brain goes to a place of propaganda, right? Just how, and everybody and Americans were taught that the Nazis were the only ones doing propaganda, So anyways, it's just like people believe what they think they know, right? And it's not really the believer's fault sometimes, well, to a degree.
Of course.
It's like, it's an interesting thing. It's like, even in America, it's like, even in the past few years, I think a lot of Americans have been like, I'll just speak for myself, rethinking what it is, that we've been taught in so many ways. And so it's like propaganda. What the hell? And it's just the powers that be get to kind of write the history is what we always hear. And it is damn true, isn't it? And people that have have certain methods and desires, put the story that they want in front of the masses. And it's, people don't know to doubt or be suspicious of certain things, right? Because there is no sort of sign of that. But it sounds like this is what happened with the Felix biography, right? The quote-unquote biography.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And as you said, nowadays, I think truth became quite a flexible kind of thing, and that's a problem, as we all know.
It's annoying. But, it is one of those things where you have to really kind of question everything to a degree, I don't want to walk around suspicious, but at the same time, like, yeah, there's some sneakies out there, some sneaky people. Your film, going back, or did you you did write this as well? Okay, you did write this. Okay, so this is like your baby. This is a baby. This is a baby for you, right?
Yeah, of
Like
course.
it's from ground up. Because sometimes you have things where people like the French company wanted you to bring you on and just kind of do this hero piece. It's so interesting because you ended up that was your entry point into the project, to the subject.
Yeah.
And then you actually landed on the opposite end of what they were
somehow, yeah, or somewhere in between, maybe.
Interesting. So this guy, Felix Kersten is, what would you say, an anti-hero?
I think he is an imposter, or a con man, but he did some good things and he saved some lives. Something like that.
So it's like anybody in real life. It's like, it's not so simple. It's not so cut and dry.
It's really difficult to find a description of this character, but I think that makes it so interesting to make a movie about him. It's not this one face kind of guy and that's it.
Right.
That's what I'm interested, in all these contradictions. We all have in us. We all contain multitude, I think. And that's what he does up to a certain degree, definitely. And that's really, really interesting.
I was obsessed with this from like 2014 to 2018-ish, as far as the I looked at it as anti-hero or, crime films with like the criminal as hero or whatever. Like, and maybe this wasn't your approach, but how did you possibly were you concerned with the audience getting behind this character with him being an imposter? And if so, what were kind of some techniques that you used?
Yeah, of course, it has a lot to do with casting. Casting is a kind of it's just intuition, I think. But did you see this Nolan movie now, Odyssey? No,
not yet.
I watched it now on Thursday, last Thursday, and to be honest, you how do you say it in English? the main character, the Matt Damon character.
Odysseus.
Odysseus. That's the English pronunciation. Yeah. He's the villain in that movie, but because Matt Damon, he is he's a movie star, so you identify with him, and so he leads you through the story, and it doesn't matter if he's the villain or not. If you take a look back into the 70s, all these especially American movies from the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly it's about anti-heroes there, all these
morally questionable, characters. But it's funny that you bring up Odyssey because, as I just said, like with all the Nolan stuff, I think Nolan is one of the masters of the anti-hero, right? But that's interesting, the Odyssey.
Take a look back at a movie like Gone with the Wind. I don't know, when was it shot? 38? Scarlett O'Hara and Rhett Butler, they're both assholes, selfish to the bone, but you identify with them,
It's so interesting. I wonder if they were seen as, at the time, they probably were, right? Heroes and like looked up to, or no? What do you think? Yeah.
I think for a long time, anti-heroes were, a normal kind of thing in movies. But just think now, because it's all about this really huge movies, I don't know, $300 million movies, anti-heroes are maybe too risky. I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting characters are interesting, and morally ambiguous, I don't know, ambiguous characters that just hold your attention. And then back to your character, Felix, like what is he fighting for in this film, I guess? Is there something he wants that he doesn't have? And if so, what is that? And like, how is he going about getting it? Even though he might be an ambiguous protagonist.
In real life, he was nominated for the Peace Nobel Prize, I don't know, I think 6 or 7 times, and he never got it, but he was nominated. So, and that's in my movie, I tell the story, he's going to Oslo to get the Nobel Prize, and in this kind of a little confession booth or something like that in the compartment in this train. He is with this journalist, and on their way to the Nobel Prize party or whatever it is. All these interviews and all the flashbacks while everything takes place. So, but he really wanted to because he was this kind of narcissist. He always wanted to. We wanted the Nobel Prize, and I don't know, all the other kind of prizes. And some
it's like a perfect story frame for your story. It sounds like, like a frame.
Yeah, sure.
For the interview. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what he really wanted. He wanted reputation. I think if Felix Kersten would still be alive today, I think he would be, he would be a master in social media and stuff like that, and he would try everything he could to influence people to get the impression of him that he wants to have them, So I think so. He's quite a modern kind of character, I think. The whole movie is, of course, it's a period movie, but it has a lot to do with our present time,
Modern, and probably a character that's always been here, as far as like he's literally a representation in my mind of all these, these people that seem so upper crust and of quality, and yet they're the ones that are like doing the shadiest shit,
Yeah.
You said you filmed in Berlin?
No. We filmed most of the stuff we shot here in, I don't know if you know the cities, Weimar and Leipzig is in East Germany.
Okay.
Small towns in East, and we shot some scenes in Vienna, because it was this Austrian-German co-production kind of thing. The whole team was from Austria. Most of the things we shot here in Germany, that's how it goes here.
I'm curious about Vienna. How amazing! It seems like it would be amazing. How is it?
Vienna is a great city. I did all the editing and the mixing in Vienna too. So I was living now in Vienna for nearly half a year. So I didn't know Vienna before that, really. I really didn't know Vienna, but somehow fell in love with that city. It's like a little bit like a museum. You live in like in a museum, but at some point you begin to like it.
Interesting. No, it seems so.
Have you ever been there? Have you ever been to Vienna?
No. That's why I was asking. I'm very curious about it because it looks it's like a museum. It really does. Yeah.
Yeah, and
it seems
and it's still a spy city. It's not only in this how is it called? This Orson Welles movie. Come on, tell me.
Third Man.
Yeah, The Third Man. Losey. It's Joseph Losey.
That's right. They shot that there. Yeah. after the World War?
Yeah, they shot it.
After
So Vienna is a spy city, you know, because I don't know, no, I don't know the reason why, but it still is, you know.
and it's such a, I mean, it's like, you know, Mozart came from there, right? Mozart, Beethoven, Freud.
Yeah,
It's
you
crazy.
worked there, lived there.
The residents there are out of this world as far as the quality.
Yeah,
What is
Vienna was
that?
a really, really important city. You know, I think 100 years ago, Vienna was, I don't know, I think the fifth biggest city in the world.
No way.
I
Okay.
don't know. I
So it was
think
like
they
it
had
was
about
kind of how
3 million.
Florence was in the Renaissance in a way. It sounds like.
Yeah, it was real. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How long did you shoot for?
because of financial problems, you know, and time pressure, of course. I think we shot this whole movie in about 23 days, so it was
Mm,
really fast. But we were really well prepared, so it wasn't that problematic. You know, the actors were
yeah.
great, and we even had time for some improvisation and stuff like that. So it was a tough ride, but it was okay,
You had the
I
story
think.
frame too, I guess, where it was like, you know, going back. Do you cut back and forth to the interview on the train with the journalist throughout
Yeah,
the film?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How much percentage wise ish do you think the film was in total of that interview? Like
The
20%,
interview is,
30%?
I don't think it's maybe 60%, something like that, and the rest
Okay.
is all the Heinrich Himmler stuff. You know, there are a lot of Heinrich Himmler scenes, and they were really great because the actor who is Heinrich Himmler, he's nobody knows him in Germany. He did just some theater and some TV stuff, you know, soaps and stuff like that.
He's the best Himmler ever, you think, on screen?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because, you know, I don't know, especially in German movies, you know, all the Nazi guys, they always look like a cartoon kind of character, you know,
You're right.
if
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
just jumped out of a cartoon and they're always barking and, you know, shouting, and so they were some kind of a grotesque characters, you know.
Theatrical
But I think,
version.
yeah, genau. But I think Heinrich Himmler, he was a common guy like you and me, and that's really that's what's frightening, I think, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
He
It's more
was
realistic.
in private, he was romantic, he was very nice, he was shy, he was not very self-confident and stuff like that. He was a guy like a common guy, you know. But there
Hmm.
was this evil kind of thing, and I think you yeah, here in Germany often, you know, you are accused because, you know, people say, okay, here you provide a stage for the evil, you know. But I
Mm.
think you cannot cancel evil. If you cancel evil, evil will grow in the dark somehow, you know. So, and evil is a part of creation, isn't it? So
Evil will grow in the dark. And that's what kind of goes back to what we've been realizing, you know, here in America. I'll say it. That's what it is. It's obvious, you know.
yeah,
And it's like,
yeah,
would ignorance bliss? I don't know. Just because we think we've learned what we think we know, even though we were kind of happy and like, oh, everything was great in the 90s when I was coming up in the 2000s and everything was cool, but like that
yeah, I
doesn't
know,
mean
yeah,
it wasn't still happening, you know? And so then is that better to not know? So I don't even
yeah.
know what's really
You're
going
right.
on. I just think I know what I think I know, you know? And it's like,
Yeah, of
what
course we
else are
all
they
do. We
hiding?
all,
Yeah. And it's fucking terrifying and it pisses me off a little bit, but also like just the lying and the storytelling is really just, it seems like it's a very consistent thing throughout recent human history. I
hmm
don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
no, me neither. Yeah, but it's a problem. Yeah, definitely.
What can we do about it? Can we fix it? I mean, you can make stories about it to kind of highlight how things, you know, are and how people are, like your character. I haven't seen the film, but how people are invested in really storytelling, right? False narratives. You know, they don't care about the truth. They care about, and this isn't everybody, but some people, a lot of people, they care about just their own legend or their own story, whether it's made up or not. It's crazy.
Yes, I think, you know, I think the main problem is that all the guys here, not only in Europe, also in the States, who
Hmm.
experienced war, they're dead now, more or less. And I think those generations who experienced war, they learned that, you know, you have to compromise. It's not only me or you. It's you have to find a compromise.
Hmm.
And now these people are all dead, and nobody knows about compromising anymore. And I think that's what we are struggling with now, all over the world.
It's like a good collaboration No, I think that's a great point. That's like a nice heart to this interview because it's like something that we can all think about. But it is like a nice collaboration or a good, healthy business relationship. It's not about you or
Mhm.
me. It's about us. It's about how it's a
Yeah,
win-win
of course.
thing, you know? But it's like,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
relationship of any kind. It's like, it's a
Yeah, of
balance. It's a
course, of
thing.
course.
Your origin story as a filmmaker.
When I was a child, I was always interested in movies, but not like all the other children in comics or whatever, cartoons or something like. I was always interested, when my first memory is I was, I think, 8 years old, and I watched old Errol Flynn movies, all these adventure kind of movies. And to be honest, if you want to know what is my favorite film, it's still African Queen by John Huston, and I watched it for the first time when I was maybe 10 years old or something like
This is
that.
your fave movie of all time?
Yeah, I know it's
Nice.
corny a little bit,
Nah.
but I really like that movie. I think it's a masterpiece.
It's so interesting that, like, what is a favorite movie? And I guess I would answer it in this moment because these things change sometimes. But I guess I would answer my own that question with the movie that I just want to watch, that I've watched the most, and that gives me comfort, gives me joy. It doesn't have to be some artsy perfect film. It's like, what's the movie that I can put on in a hard time or a good time or any time and say, I still want to watch this. And there's two for me, but anyways, go ahead. Is that for you, African Queen? Like that's what
For me,
kind
it's
of like that?
African
Yeah.
Queen, and that was much later, Heat by Michael Mann, of course.
Let's
I think Heat
go.
is
That's in my top 5.
Heat is a masterpiece,
It's so
an all-time
fucking
masterpiece.
good.
I think it's a perfect movie, really a perfect movie.
It's so and as you revisit it, it gets better. It's crazy how it gets
Yeah,
better every
I
time.
don't. I've seen that movie, I don't know, maybe 20 times. Or I don't know. I remember when I first saw it on the big screen. When was it? 1995, I think, right? I couldn't believe it. All this great blue screen. It was a blast.
I remember getting the double tape and I was 12 when it came out, and I was able to watch it right when it came out on VHS, and it was like double tape. You need to put the second tape in at the halfway mark. God, and even my 6-year-old now, almost 7, he's like, I can't wait to watch Heat one day. Like, not anytime soon, but yeah, I can't wait. We
Yeah,
don't
of
talk
course.
about Black Hat.
No, we shouldn't.
We don't talk about that. Moving right along here. Sorry. Thanks for letting me rant. Yeah. But favorite movies, past films, African Queen. John Huston's a legend, obviously. African Queen, what is it for you about this film? Besides, like, obviously you watched it when you were a younger kid, and it's probably very nostalgic for you. But
Yeah,
what
I think
else?
it's all these existential questions, this movie asks but doesn't answers, and I think all the distractions in the characters, this drunk and this nun, and they fall in love somehow, and it's a lot of things are going on. It's not boring or anything. It's just an adventure movie, but with really really strong characters, and I think that's great. That's what I like about movies. I'm not into this artsy fartsy kind of stuff. I like
Mm.
movies where a lot of things are going on. I like its pace also.
African Queen, a religious spinster, Catherine Hepburn's missionary brother is killed in World War I Africa. Desolate steamer captain Humphrey Bogart offers her safe passage. She's not satisfied, so she persuades him to destroy a German gunboat. The two spend most of their time fighting with each other rather than the Germans. Time Alone on the River Leads to Love, directed by John Huston, story by C.S. Forrester. Academy Award for Best Actor in a Leading Role. February 20th, 1952. And those movies back then, too, what was it, around the 60s maybe, where they just kind of started going from like kind of over-the-top theatrical, I don't want to say over-the-top, but, theatrically executed to like more realistic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe it's 60s, 70s. It started with the Nouvelle Vague, I think, but I think it was really an important influence because, but without the Nouvelle Vague and the Italian neorealism, there wouldn't have been the new Hollywood, I think.
Or the new German cinema too, right? Because that was a thing as well. Like New
Yeah,
Hollywood, and then you had
the Germans.
the Herzogs and the Fassbinders and
I know you guys in America, you all like Werner Herzog.
I know I don't love him honestly, but people I know love him, and I dig it. I dig the support, but I never gravitated. I never could. I like me some Herzog though. I can't lie on that.
Yeah, I think his documentaries are really great. I
His
think
voice, he's such a fucking character. What do you say? He's such a aura. He has an aura about him. Oh, I love that he never even went to a movie theater or saw a film until he was like 15 or 16. He was so
Yeah,
disconnected from the world
I,
until
I,
16. I love
I
that.
don't, but I don't think that that is true.
Ah, interesting,
He's a good
interesting.
story. He's a good storyteller in any
He's
way. But you know, talking about Fassbinder, nobody mentions Fassbinder here anymore in Germany. I don't know what it's in the States, but nobody's interested in him
I mean,
anymore.
it's interesting because people like even like the new French New Wave, you know, Nouvelle Vague was more of a bigger deal here than it was there, right? Or at least it seems like some people would say, as far as like the way it was worshipped and looked up to, or
Mhm.
maybe it wasn't bigger. But it seemed like the Americans really, really loved that from a distance, almost more than the French folks, the French film goers.
Yeah, but I think François Truffaut, he was really successful in France. He was
Totally.
his movies were kind of blockbusters in France. You know,
Hmm.
unbelievable nowadays, but that was the case.
It's just cool to have the cultures give each other something to go on, you know, too. It's like even like the Americans love the French, or the French love the American. Like
So,
Sergio loved Kurosawa, but it's just cool how like culture globally. It's been like if you look at the history of it, it's like boom, 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 boom. Like Berlin, German cinema. It's like I mean, how much German? I mean, how much film grammar was created by early on German filmmaking? It's crazy
yeah,
to think about that.
yeah,
You know.
definitely. But that that all died after World War II. You know,
But Fritz
also
Lang, what a legend, Fritz,
yes,
right?
Fritz Lang, but also a lot of guys from Austria like Fred Zinnemann, Billy
Billy
Wilder.
Wilder, Wilder. Oh,
William Wyler, he was German. Really, a lot of guys who created something created Hollywood in some way. You know, they were from Germany.
what was the moment where you were like, I love movies, yes, of course, African Queen.
To be honest, I loved movies. Of course, I loved movies, but I didn't have any idea how to shoot a movie or anything like that. And then I started to study something else, and I was 20 years old, then submitted my application here in film school in Berlin, and yeah, they accepted me. I couldn't believe it, to be honest. You know, there are about 500 guys, and they take 10 or 15 or something like that. And I really had no idea how to shoot a movie. I didn't know anything. Somehow it worked. I worked out still there. It was more like an accident to to be in film school, and I was in a really good film school here in Berlin at the FFB. It's called. It's really famous here in Germany. Maybe it's the best film school here in Germany because in those days when I was there, there was complete freedom. You know, we could do whatever we wanted to do. There were no, yeah, we could do whatever we wanted to do, and those were the days, where making films was really expensive. Because nobody had a cell phone to shoot a movie for $2 or something like that.
But do you think that was for the best? Maybe because you had to think about it first. It
Yeah,
wasn't so
of
easy to
course, of
hit
course,
record.
because I don't know, to shoot a 10-minute take, it cost about 500 marks. It must be something about $300 maybe now, just
So you had something
to
on the
10-minute
line. You
take.
had to pay to play.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
you have to rehearse everything. You had to know really exactly what you wanted to do, and I think that was really a good lesson because
yeah,
I think you can see it in movies from nowadays, from really young filmmakers. There's no concept. They just shoot,
sure.
shoot, 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 shoot. Okay, maybe that's the way now, but
There's been there's been a clarity and a quality drop off because of it. It's pretty
Mhm.
obvious,
Yeah,
I think,
maybe.
in my
Yeah.
opinion. But also, I think when me doing docs, it's like there's a balance to everything. There's a left and there's a right, a yin and a yang, right? But like there's a nice thing about being able to shoot to have my FX9 just go in a situation because I don't know what's going to happen. As far as documentary filmmaking, I love that, and
Yeah,
like I try to still give myself a limitation. I say, hey man, that you get one take with these things, and you got to film it and live with how you filmed it because I shoot as well. You have to live with how you filmed it. And I was in the moment when I was filming. And it's so wonderful to have that limitation, to have that kind of release of let the rope go, like accept that's what it is and that's how it's supposed to be. That's how it was shot. Anyways, so it's like I'm able to keep the camera recording. My problem isn't like I can't afford this film stock right now. It's more, but it's also more of like having too many options is fucking too much pressure in a way. Having too much stuff in your garage is a bad feeling. Having too much, too many chances.
yeah.
You don't know what you're trying to do. when you're under pressure, I think it's like you can really discover very quickly what's most important to you, right?
Yes.
That's kind of it. So
And I think nearly all actors, the best take is maybe the first or the second. I don't believe, in shooting 55 takes, and I think, all this Stanley Kubrick kind of stuff, shooting 180 takes, someone, taking a sip or whatever. That's a little bit ridiculous, I think.
I saw a quote by him recently where he was like, "Yeah, that's bullshit. I mean, if you ask a certain actor that wasn't doing what I needed to do, then they might tell you I did 99 takes." But he's like, "I don't do that." But yeah, even Fincher, notorious for that. It's like, yeah, that seems
Okay,
ridiculous.
David Fincher is shooting a lot of stuff too.
Social Network, that opening scene, they shot literally 99 takes, I believe it was, which great scene. Let me ask you this. What do you hope people take away from this film, your new film?
Wasn't it Louis B. Mayer? If you sent a message, sent a telegram or something like that. I have no message. I think I want to. I think my movie is really entertaining in a way, but really no, not only in a way. It is entertaining, but with really, really strange, complicated characters, full of distractions. And I want to, if there is a message or something like that, or it's something I want to give the audience, is let's think about what truth could be nowadays. Is there only one truth, or if there may be a second truth or something like that? Let's talk about it, because I think if there isn't any truth, we couldn't talk about anything. We couldn't come to terms, and we have to find some kind of a agreement again on what is truth and what is not true. You know,
To just be less sure about what you think you know, right? To try to seek out some more perspective, maybe, yeah, in a way.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. That's what I'm thinking really a lot about, because yeah, that's one of the main things nowadays. I think we have to think about because yeah, got such a fragile thing, and yeah, that's what my movie is about.
And you could have told me to just fuck off too with that question, but no, that's something. That's something. That's something. I mean, that's one thing that could happen to somebody's interpretation. Yeah, yeah. How long you been doing this? How many films have you made?
I'm into the business now for about 20 years, and I made, I don't know, five movies now, and a TV series. But I'm not into TV anymore. I don't want to do it anymore.
Oh, why not? Because it's just too long.
It's not my it's completely different kind of thinking about making movies. It's not about if you make a TV series. I think it's not about directing. It's they ask more. You are not a director. You're more like a unit manager. Just have
Mm,
your
just going down the
yeah.
list,
It just
checking.
that doesn't mean that there's great TV stuff.
Uh-huh.
Definitely. That's not my cup of tea, I think. So maybe someday it will be. So I don't know, but right at the moment, I'm not interested in it. And
Fair enough.
and it's really important in Europe. It is in some kind of a draw, And you're a movie kind of guy or you're a TV kind of guy. There's nothing in between, So you have to choose somehow. Yeah, you have to make your decision. And if you don't do that, you're somewhere in between, and you're not interesting for the TV guys and not for the movie guys. So yeah, you have to decide.
Well, let me ask you this: what would you tell your younger filmmaking self if you could go back in time?
Yeah, what I would tell younger filmmakers in general, or
What would you tell your younger filmmaking self? Like back in film school. Hey, younger me.
question, good question.
Yeah, it's an annoying question, but it's usually the one I end with.
Maybe I should have waited 2 years before I entered film school. I was a little bit too young, I think. And because, but like all the guys from the film school, not only me, but we really weren't experienced in how to shoot a movie. There's a routine in shooting a movie, as you know, and nobody knew anything about that. It took us, I don't know, 3 hours to shoot one setup, because nobody knew how to do it.
That 10,000 hour thing, just to understand like
Yeah,
what is the best approach sometimes. But it sounds like
yeah,
film
yeah.
school was good for you in that way. Did you guys do a lot of theory as well, or was it mostly production or a mix? Or What was the? Were you
Pardon?
sitting around talking? Were you sitting around talking about movies too, and kind of analyzing and theorizing?
Yeah, it was a lot, really a lot. Yeah, it was a lot of. It was 24/7 there. Nobody ever slept and stuff like that. It was a really good time. But I think this craftsmanship, this how to make a movie, those routines. Nobody knew anything about that, and that was not good because after film school I worked as a first AD for about 2 years just to know how to shoot a movie. Just to say first positions and stuff like that. Very easy, but nobody told us. That was a real problem.
Totally. I mean, that's my film school was basically getting on film sets. I was a grip for 7 years, but I was just
That's
able
good.
I was able to watch, and I was able to get paid to learn. And gripping is
Yeah,
gripping, but it was good,
yeah,
and
but
understanding how to
that's
act and
good.
be and move quickly and be safe and be professional.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
but also, I do wish I would have went to a certain film school. But we all have our different paths, and you can always, you take what you can
definitely.
get, use what you got.
Of
But what would
course.
you say though?
Of
What would
course.
you go back and tell your younger filmmaking self? I think would you say wait 2 years to go to film school is what you would tell you?
Yeah, wait 2 years, go to sets, work as a grip or whatever, and then go to film school. But okay, I can't turn back time, nobody can, and so it's okay. I'm fine with that.
And it's you know what? And it's a fun question. And even when I ask myself, it's like I think answer in an opposite way, where it's like I wish I would have went to School of the Arts when I had kind of had the opportunity, and then go to film school. But it didn't work out that way because there are certain reasons.
Are there a lot of film schools in the States or UCLA and Tisch kind of art school or whatever it's
Well,
called,
and you have
and that's
yeah,
it?
and it's like it's right now. It's very interesting as far as what is the university worth. Is the juice worth the squeeze, right? Kind of thing. But besides that whole large conversation that we don't have to get into, it seems like USC, UCLA, School of the Arts in North Carolina, where I'm from, that was where I should have went. That was a pretty good one. Is a good one, I think.
Okay.
NYU, I think NYU was my dream. I used to watch this. Used to get all the advertisements in the Movie Maker magazine and
I see.
Filmmaker magazine, but it was like, ooh, and then like there was a Sundance channel where it had a show called Film School on it, and it was like following on these NYU. So the marketing was incredible for the school. But I wanted to be.
Okay.
I'm from the country. I'm from the middle of nowhere, and like the only filmmaker I knew was me, and so I desperately wanted to do what we're doing right now, this is probably also a reason why I do this, because I'm making up for not having it for 10 years. But I didn't have the path or the know-how or the money. It didn't make any sense. So it is what it
So you
is,
have to pay.
sometimes. Oh,
Do you have to
yeah.
pay for?
See,
Okay.
that's okay. See, that is okay. So as far as if the juice is worth the squeeze, I mean, as far as is it worth $50,000 or whatever it was at the time
Okay,
to
oh my
go
God,
to.
that's an important difference because here in Germany you do not have to pay for film school or you do not have to pay for university at all for nothing. You just get it for free.
I mean, let me just look this up real quick. Let me just pick on NYU Film School tuition. I'm just curious right now what it is right now. Oh my God. You ready for this? NYU Tisch School of the Arts. Undergraduate tuition and fees are $75,326 a year. Factoring in living expenses, books, etc., the total estimated cost of attendance exceeds $104,000 annually.
Who can afford that?
I don't know. I don't know anybody that can. And it's like, what are you getting in exchange for that? What? Yeah, isn't that
So that
crazy?
means all the filmmakers in America, they are all rich kids. Or
It means that all the people that go to film school don't make films, it seems like, honestly. It seems like the ones that are making movies are the ones that just go make movies. That's what it seems like. I don't know. It's like everybody has their specific path, I guess. And like, I think there's value in everything. But I think film school can breed entitlement. I think people that young, they think they're ready to make a film because they've been to film school. I get it. But also it's not good. Do you know what I mean? Film, I think it's a mixture of both. It's like, how do you use what you got? That's kind of the thing.
But it's really interesting. I didn't know that going to film school in America is so expensive.
Please like and subscribe to this podcast and follow us on social media at Past, Present, Feature. And let us know in the comments section what movies you're watching. Thank you so much for listening to the Past, Present, Feature podcast, and we'll see you next time. Peace. Love learning about filmmaking? There's no better film school than actually watching movies in theaters. Revival Hub is your guide to specialty screenings in Los Angeles. Classics on 35mm, director Q&As, rare restorations, and indie gems you won't find on streaming. Revival Hub connects moviegoers with over 200 venues across LA, from the major Revival houses to the 20-seat micro cinemas and more. Whether you're an aspiring filmmaker or just love great cinema, Revival Hub helps you discover the screenings that matter, the ones that'll change how you see movies. Visit revivalhub.com to see what's playing this week. That's REVIVALHUB.com.